Study Section 6. Phonological Theory 4. Introduction. In the previous study section, we discussed distinctive feature theory, a major addition of generative theory to phonology. You should not forget that generative phonology is a reaction to classical phonemics in terms of the perception of the phoneme, as well as the explanations of phonological processes. In this study section, you will learn about another theory that is a reaction to generative phonology called metrical phonology. However, note that metrical theory, though a reaction to generative phonology, does not totally depart from it, but claims to adjust to some of the tenets in bracket beliefs. Learning outcome for study section 6. When you study this section, you should be able to define and use correctly all the keywords printed in bold. Locate an area where metrical phonology departs from generative phonology. Discuss the tenets of metrical phonology. Metrical phonology. Metrical phonology is an offshoot of generative phonology. The theory we discussed in the previous 2 lectures, earlier than now, we were made to know that most theories are reactions to previous theories. We were even made to know specifically that metrical phonology is a reaction to the claims of generative phonology. However, many linguists consider it an offshoot of generative phonology because it builds on the tenets of the theory by suggesting a new approach to the treatment of stress in generative phonology. Metrical phonologists believe that stress description in generative phonology, especially in Chomsky and Alice's sound pattern of English, was not properly explained. Therefore, Limberman and Priest, 1977, initiated metrical phonology as an alternative approach to stress description due to this dissatisfaction. Note, metrical phonology furthers the tenets of generative phonology. As such, it cannot totally be said to be a rival or a reaction to the latter. As discussed earlier, generative phonology is characterized by feature description. This means that in generative phonology, stress is considered a feature and vowels are said to be plus stress or minus stress. Using the binary approach is equal to, in this case, a vowel that is plus stress, while an unstressed vowel is minus stress. Metrical theory disagrees with this approach. Let us now discuss the tenets of metrical theory. It holds that unlike other phonological properties, stress is not a feature, but rather the hierarchical rhythmic organization of utterances. You must be wondering what this rhythmical organization of utterances refers to. Take note of the following explanation if you want an answer to your query. In English, for instance, syllables are not altered in flat forms. They are altered at different levels of pitch, which alternates. Strong syllables are strong, while unstressed syllables are weak. Stress, therefore, accounts for this alternative rhythm of stressed and unstressed syllables, i.e., strong and weak syllables. Stressed syllables are strong, unstressed syllables are weak. Metrical stressed syllables. Our explanations are getting more technical, and there is a need to follow things closely. Generative phonology, which we discussed earlier, sees stress as a feature from the binary perspective of plus stress or minus stress. However, metrical phonology does not see stress as a feature. Rather, It views stress as hierarchical, rhythmic organization of utterances. It proposes that utterances are organized. Segments are organized into syllables, and syllables are organized into fits. Therefore, in metrical phonology, stress is defined on a tree structure in which nodes are used. These nodes divide binarily into strong in bracket S and weak in bracket W nodes. Sister nodes are labeled SW or WX. S stands for stronger than weak, and W stands for weaker than strong. No other labeling or branching is permissible. Therefore, branching such as S, S, or W, W are not allowed. This does not only apply at word level, but also at sentence level. Do not forget that no English word or sentence with more than one syllable is uttered on the same level of pitch. There will be an alternation of S in bracket strong and W in bracket ig syllables. The metrical structure of an utterance is usually diagrammed in the form of a tree. Metrical trees. Let us look at the following examples. In the first tree, SWW, Johnny. In the second tree, dislikes paper bags. Kutindin, 1986. Note, metrical phonology's main tenet implies that stress exists independent of segments and does not operate at the level of segments. There is also the term metrical grid, which is used to describe the grid that is constructed based on the different level relations of stress in an utterance. They are more compact than trees. Let's look at the example below. The metrical grid for the sentence is as follows. Johnny dislikes paper bag. Johnny on J 1 8, on N 2, dislike on D 3, on 4 9, on P paper 5 10 11, on paper 6, on B 7, Crotodin 1986. Int. Metrical phonology uses two tools. 1. Metrical trees whose nodes divide binarily into strong in bracket S and weak in bracket W. 2. Metrical grid. Summary of study section 6. We have discussed in the foregoing study section that metrical phonology, a theory developed by Limbaugh and Prince 1977, is an offshoot of generative phonology because it builds on its tenets by suggesting a new approach to the treatment of stress. We have also learned that tenets of metrical theory, which holds that unlike other phonological properties, stress is not a feature but rather the hierarchical rhythmic organization of utterances. The study section also covers metrical trees whose nodes divide binarily into strong S and weak W based on the strong and weak relations of English syllables. We discuss further about metrical grid, which shows the relationship between the syllables in a clear manner than the trees. End of study section 6. Thanks for listening.